The desperate signal. The Proxima Centauri colony was dying. Governor Marcus Chen watched from the command center's viewport as another orbital defense platform erupted into flame, debris scattering across the starlit void. 3 days ago, they had been a thriving settlement of 30,000 people, scientists, engineers, families who had traveled 4.2 light-years from Earth to build humanity's first interstellar colony. Now they were fighting for survival against an armada of alien vessels that had appeared without warning or provocation. "Status report," Chen demanded, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "Defensive grid at 12% capacity," his security chief answered, the grim news delivered with military precision. "Evacuation shuttles at 73% loaded. We've lost contact with the Eastern Habitation Dome." Chen nodded, his decision already made. "Initiate the final evacuation protocol. And launch the quantum beacon." The security chief hesitated. "Sir, the QBT is still experimental. Earth may not." "Earth must receive our message," Chen interrupted. "It's our only hope." As the quantum beacon, Earth's newest communication technology, designed to transmit instantaneously across interstellar distances, was activated, Chen composed what might be humanity's final testament from Proxima Centauri. "This is Governor Chen of New Horizon Colony. We are under attack by an unknown alien force. Our defenses cannot hold. If anyone receives this, send help." Commander Elena Reeves was midway through her morning coffee when the alert sounded throughout Earth Defense Command headquarters. As the commanding officer of the ESV Harbinger, Earth's most advanced warship, she had been expecting the call. The quantum beacon technology had been detecting anomalies for weeks, though this was the first coherent transmission. "Commander," Admiral Takahashi's hologram materialized in her office. "We've received a distress signal from Proxima Centauri. The colony is under attack." Reeves set down her coffee. "Vorax." "Unknown, but the attack pattern matches their previous incursions in the Kuiper Belt. This is what we've been preparing for, Commander." Reeves stood, straightening her uniform. "A Harbinger is ready, Admiral. Authorization code Omega-7 Delta is now active," Takahashi said, his expression grave. "You know what that means." She did. After decades of covert encounters with alien scouts and intelligence gathering, humanity had developed a strategy of technological concealment. Earth's defense ships were designed to appear less advanced than they actually were, a deception meant to prevent hostile species from seeing humans as a threat worth eliminating, while hiding their true capabilities for when they would be most needed. A Harbinger was the pinnacle of this philosophy. From the outside, it resembled a conventional military vessel, impressive by human standards, but seemingly unremarkable to more advanced civilizations. Its true nature was known only to a select few. "Time to show our hand," Reeves said. "Not unless absolutely necessary," Takahashi cautioned. "Assess the situation first. Diplomacy remains our preferred approach. And if diplomacy fails," the Admiral's hologram flickered, "then you have full authorization to deploy all systems. Defend our people, Commander." 6 hours later, Commander Reeves stood on the bridge of the Harbinger as her crew prepared for departure. Through the viewport, Earth's orbital shipyards gleamed against the darkness of space, busy with the constant movement of vessels and construction drones. "Pre-launch diagnostics complete," reported Lieutenant Maya Patel, the ship's operations officer. "All systems nominal." "Conventional systems nominal," corrected Chief Engineer Dmitry Volkov from his station. "The other systems remain in standby mode as ordered." Reeves nodded. Volkov was one of the few who knew the Harbinger's true capabilities. "Plot course for Proxima Centauri, maximum conventional speed. Engage quantum fold drive only after we've cleared the solar system." "Aye, Commander," replied Helmsman Jin Park. Estimated travel time to Proxima Centauri: 6 days, 4 hours. 6 days that the colony might not have. But even with their advanced technology, physics imposed certain limitations. The quantum fold drive, Earth's version of faster-than-light travel, could bend space-time to remarkable degrees, but even it couldn't deliver them instantaneously across 4.2 light-years. "All hands," Reeves announced over the ship-wide comm. "This is the commander. We've received a distress call from the Proxima Centauri colony. Unknown hostiles are attacking our people. Our mission is clear. Reach Proxima Centauri, assess the situation, render aid, and defend the colony by any means necessary." She paused, looking at the crew around her. The best Earth had to offer, though many didn't yet know the true nature of the ship they served on. This may be humanity's first major interstellar conflict. How we respond will define us as a species. We will act with courage, intelligence, and restraint, but we will not fail our people. Harbinger out. As the ship detached from its docking clamps and accelerated away from Earth, Reeves called a meeting of her senior staff in the briefing room. "What do we know about the Vorax?" she asked, looking at Intelligence Officer Aisha Rahman. Rahman brought up a holographic display. "The Vorax Dominion has been encountered only in limited scouting operations until now. They appear to be a caste-based society, with a strong militaristic hierarchy. Their technology is estimated to be approximately 70 years ahead of our publicly known capabilities." "And our actual capabilities?" asked Medical Officer Dr. Julian Carver. Reeves exchanged glances with Volkov. "That's classified," she said, "but you'll find out soon enough if diplomacy fails at Proxima. Our first priority is rescue and evacuation," she continued. "If the colony's defenses have failed, our conventional weapons systems may not be sufficient against the Vorax fleet. In that case, I'm authorized to deploy our special measures." "Special measures?" echoed Tactical Officer Leon Castillo. "What exactly does our ship have that isn't in the specifications?" "Let's hope you don't need to find out," Reeves replied. "But if you do, I promise it will be impressive." 5 days and 22 hours later, the Harbinger decelerated from Quantum Fold, emerging at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. Immediately, their sensors detected the aftermath of battle: debris fields where defense platforms had once orbited, and energy signatures from weapons fire around Proxima Centauri, the colony world. "Scan the system," Reeves ordered. "Find our people." "Multiple contacts," reported Lieutenant Pottle. "Detecting 12 vessels of unknown configuration in orbit around Proxima. The energy signatures match what we believe to be Vorax technology." "And the colony?" "Ground-based energy shields still active around the central compound, but they're weakening. I'm detecting approximately 5,000 human life signs clustered there." That's less than a quarter of the colony's population, Commander." A grim silence fell over the bridge. "Are we too late?" Helmsman Park asked quietly. "Not yet," Reeves said. "Active scan of the Vorax fleet. I want to know what we're dealing with." "Commander," Tactical Officer Castillo warned, "an active scan will reveal our position." "That's the idea, Lieutenant. They need to know we're here." As the Harbinger's conventional sensors swept the system, the data painted a dire picture. The Vorax vessels were heavily armed, their energy readings suggesting weapons systems far beyond what the Harbinger's visible armaments could match. They had established orbital superiority, and were systematically destroying the colony's infrastructure, while their ground forces pressed against the final defensive perimeter. "They've detected us," Paddle reported. 3 Vorax vessels breaking orbit on intercept course. "Open a channel," Reeves ordered. "All frequencies, first contact protocol." "Channel open." Reeves stood tall, facing the view screen. "This is Commander Elena Reeves of the Earth Defense Coalition vessel Harbinger. You are attacking a peaceful human settlement. Cease your aggression immediately and withdraw your forces. We are prepared to discuss any grievances through diplomatic channels." For several tense moments, there was no response. Then, the view screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike any human eyes had seen before. Its body appeared to be a fusion of organic and mechanical components, with a carapace-like external structure housing glowing circuitry. Multiple eyes arranged in a crescent pattern studied them with cold intelligence. Human vessel, the being spoke, its words translated by the Harbinger's communication system. I am Conquest Commander Krex of the Vorax Dominion. Your colony occupies a world designated for Vorax expansion. Its resources are required. Surrender your vessel and evacuate your remaining colonists to your home system. This is your only warning. The planet was unoccupied when we established our colony, Reeves countered. We have no record of any prior Vorax claim. Your records are irrelevant. The Dominion's claim supersedes all others. Your species' technological inferiority makes your objections meaningless. Reeves kept her expression neutral. I urge you to reconsider, Commander Krex. We desire peaceful coexistence, but we will defend our people. Krex's mechanical components whirred. Scan data indicates your vessel possesses minimal offensive capabilities. Your threat is noted and dismissed. You have 1 standard hour to begin evacuation procedures before we resume our cleansing operation. The transmission ended abruptly. They're continuing toward us, Castillo reported. Weapons systems charging. Reeves turned to her crew, her decision made. It seems diplomacy has failed. Chief Engineer Volkov, initiate protocol revelation. All hands, prepare for combat operations. Volkov's fingers danced across his console, inputting a complex authorization code. Protocol revelation initiating, Commander. True systems coming online in 3, 2, 1. Throughout the Harbinger, hidden compartments slid open. Weapon ports concealed beneath seemingly structural elements revealed themselves. The ship's energy signature, which had appeared modest and conventional to Vorax scans, suddenly shifted as power flowed to systems that had remained dormant since the vessel's launch. On the bridge, additional control interfaces emerged from previously solid surfaces. The main tactical display expanded, revealing weapon systems and defensive capabilities that most of the crew hadn't known existed. What the hell? Castillo breathed, staring at his suddenly transformed tactical station. The Harbinger's true face, Reeves explained. Earth's ultimate contingency against technologically superior hostiles. Now, let's show the Vorax Dominion that they've made a serious miscalculation about humanity. As the 3 Vorax warships approached, clearly expecting an easy victory, the Harbinger's hidden systems came fully online. The true battle for Proxima Centauri was about to begin. Defiance and diplomacy. The transformation of the ESV Harbinger left most of its crew in stunned silence. What had appeared to be a conventional military vessel now hummed with energy signatures that defied standard physics. Tactical displays showed weapon systems beyond anything publicly acknowledged in Earth's arsenal. Adaptive quantum shielding online, reported Chief Engineer Volkov, his voice steady despite the tension. Phased displacement arrays charged and ready. Graviton lance at full capacity. Tactical Officer Castillo stared at his console in disbelief. Commander, these weapons, they're decades ahead of anything I've trained on. The interface is intuitive by design, Reeves explained. The targeting systems will compensate for your unfamiliarity. On the view screen, the approaching Vorax vessels continued their advance, unaware of the Harbinger's transformation. Their scan data still showed a modestly armed human vessel. Prey, not predator. They're entering optimal firing range, Paddle reported. Vorax weapons charged and locked on us. Reeves settled into her command chair. Defensive posture, Lieutenant Castillo. Deploy countermeasures only. Let's give them one more chance to reconsider. Aye, Commander. The lead Vorax ship fired. A brilliant beam of energy that should have torn through the Harbinger's conventional shields. Instead, the quantum shielding shimmed, rippling like water as it absorbed and redirected the energy harmlessly into subspace. Shield integrity at 100%, Volkov announced. No damage. On the view screen, they could almost sense the confusion aboard the Vorax vessels. A second beam lanced out, then a third, each harmlessly absorbed by defenses that shouldn't have existed. They're firing again, Castillo reported. Multiple weapon systems engaging. Return fire, Reeves ordered. Targeted disabling shots only. I want their propulsion and weapons disabled, not destroyed. Castillo's fingers moved across his transformed interface. The Harbinger's hidden weapon ports opened, revealing sleek emitters that glowed with controlled energy. Unlike the crude projectile and laser weapons visible on the ship's exterior, these fired concentrated beams of particles in impossible patterns, weaving through space in ways that defied conventional trajectory. The beams struck the lead Vorax vessel with surgical precision. Its weapon ports went dark, propulsion systems fading as carefully calibrated energy disrupted but didn't destroy their functionality. Target 1 disabled, Commander, Castillo reported, unable to keep the wonder from his voice. No critical damage to their vessel. The remaining 2 Vorax ships altered course, attempting evasive maneuvers while intensifying their attack. Their weapons fire became desperate, scattershot, as they encountered something outside their experience. They're attempting to adapt their shield frequencies, Patel noted, scanning us with deeper penetration. Let them see, Reeves decided. Deactivate the exterior camouflage systems. Show them exactly what they're facing. The Harbinger's exterior transformed as nanomaterials reconfigured, revealing the true nature of the ship. What had appeared to be a conventional hull was actually an advanced composite capable of adapting its properties instantaneously. Weapon emplacements far more sophisticated than initially visible emerged from seamless integration points. Incoming transmission from the Vorax command vessel, Patil announced. On screen, Conquest Commander Krex appeared, his organic mechanical features arranged in what might have been the Vorax equivalent of shock. What deception is this? He demanded. Your vessel has changed. Not change, Commander Krex, Reeves corrected. Revealed. What you see now is the Harbinger's true form. Earth has maintained a policy of technological camouflage for decades. We present ourselves as less advanced than we truly are until threatened. Impossible. Our intelligence indicated humans had barely mastered routine interstellar travel. Your intelligence was based on what we allowed to be seen, Reeves explained. A deliberate strategy developed after our first covert encounters with species like yours. We learned caution before we ever officially met our galactic neighbors. Krex's mechanical components whirred rapidly. The other 2 vessels in your system are similarly disguised. Yes, Reeves finished for him, though it was a bluff. The Harbinger was currently Earth's only vessel with full revelation capabilities. Now let me offer you a choice, Commander. You can continue this attack and discover what else we've been hiding, or you can stand down and engage in proper diplomatic discussions. For a moment, Krex seemed to consider this. Then his features hardened. The Dominion does not retreat. All vessels, full attack pattern. The remaining Vorax ships launched a coordinated assault, firing from multiple angles while deploying smaller attack craft. They're not convinced, Castillo observed dryly. Then we need to be more persuasive, Reeves replied. Target their flagship's secondary systems. Show them precision they can't ignore. The Harbinger's weapons fired again, but this time the beams split mid-trajectory, each subdivision finding a specific non-critical system on Krex's flagship. One by one, auxiliary power nodes, sensor arrays, and communication dishes went dark with surgical precision. Now deploy the Whisper drones, Reeves ordered. From the Harbinger's underside, dozens of small, diamond-shaped objects emerged. Nearly invisible to conventional sensors, they moved with incredible speed and coordination toward the Vorax vessels. What are those? Dr. Carver asked, watching from his medical station. Quantum-entangled infiltration units, Volkov explained. They can phase through standard shielding and temporarily disrupt electronic systems. The drones reached the Vorax vessels and simply passed through their shields as if they weren't there. Moments later, the alien ships began to drift, their weapons falling silent, navigation systems offline. All Vorax vessels temporarily neutralized, Castillo reported. No critical damage. Life support remains functional. "Open a channel to Commander Krex," Reeves ordered. When the Vorax leader appeared, his ship now operating on emergency power, she continued. "That was a demonstration of restraint, Commander. We could have destroyed your vessels, but chose not to. Now let's discuss the situation like civilized species." Admiral Krex stood on the Harbinger's conference deck, his towering form dwarfing the human officers present. The meeting had been arranged after the Vorax commander had finally agreed to negotiations, his arrogance diminished by the shocking revelation of human capabilities. "The Dominion's expansion directive is absolute," Krex maintained, though his tone had lost much of its previous condescension. "Proxima Centauri was marked for resource acquisition cycles before your colony was established. Yet you never registered this claim with any interstellar authority," Commander Reeves pointed out. "Our surveys showed no evidence of prior claims or presence. The Dominion does not recognize the authority of galactic governance structures," Krex replied. "Our claims are self-evident by right of power. A philosophy that assumes technological superiority determines rights," Reeves observed. "That assumption has now been challenged." Krex's organic eye narrowed. "Your deception was unexpected. The Dominion will reassess our evaluation of human capabilities." "Not deception," Intelligence Officer Raman interjected. "Strategic restraint. There's a difference. We propose an alternative approach," Reeves continued. "There are uninhabited worlds in adjacent systems with similar resource profiles. We're willing to share our survey data and assist with initial extraction operations as a gesture of peaceful intent." "And if we refuse?" Reeves met his gaze steadily. "Then we demonstrate that the Harbinger isn't the only surprise humanity has prepared." For several long moments, Krex studied the humans, his mechanical components processing calculations and probabilities. Finally, he spoke. "The Dominion has never negotiated from a position of equivalence before. It is novel." He straightened to his full height. "I will consult with the Dominion Council. Until their decision is rendered, I offer a temporary cessation of hostilities." "Accepted," Reeves replied immediately. "And we request immediate access to the colony to provide medical assistance to the survivors." "Granted," Krex said. "My forces will withdraw to orbit." As the Vorax commander was escorted back to his shuttle, Dr. Carver approached Reeves. "You think they'll actually negotiate in good faith?" he asked skeptically. "They'll calculate the risks," Reeves replied. "The Vorax value efficiency above all else. War with an opponent who can match their technology would be inefficient. And if they decide to bring their entire fleet instead?" Reeves smiled thinly. "Then they'll discover that the Harbinger is just the beginning of our surprises." 3 weeks later, Commander Reeves stood at the viewport in her quarters, watching as the joint human-Vorax expedition prepared to depart for the nearby Leeton system. The diplomatic breakthrough had been unexpected but welcome. The Vorax, after reassessing the situation, had agreed to collaborative resource exploration rather than conquest. A chime announced a visitor. "Enter," she called. Admiral Takahashi's hologram materialized. "Congratulations, Commander. The treaty has been ratified by Earth government and the Dominion Council." "It's only a beginning," Reeves cautioned. "The Vorax haven't abandoned their expansionist ideology, merely adapted their methods." "But it's a start," Takahashi replied. "The first peaceful resolution with an advanced species. Your restraint made that possible. You could have destroyed their fleet and started a war we might not have won," Reeves said. "The Harbinger may be advanced, but the Vorax dominion is vast. Better to show strength and then offer cooperation. A philosophy that will guide our future first contact protocols," the Admiral agreed. The Revelation Protocol worked exactly as designed. Demonstrate capability, then pursue diplomacy from a position of respected strength. Reeves turned from the viewport. "What about the colonists? Have we found all the evacuation shuttles?" 87% of the missing colonists have been recovered," Takahashi reported. "Search operations continue. The colony itself will be rebuilt with improved defenses, now visible ones, since concealment is no longer necessary with the Vorax. And the Harbinger will remain on station until the joint expedition returns. After that, the Admiral smiled. There are other frontiers, Commander. Other species we've detected, but not yet officially met. The policy of strategic revelation has proven effective, but each new encounter will present unique challenges. After the Admiral's hologram faded, Reeves returned to the viewport. Beyond the shipyard where Vorax and human engineers worked side by side, the stars stretched endlessly. Somewhere out there, other civilizations waited, some peaceful, others perhaps not. Humanity had revealed one of its secrets today, but not all of them. The Harbinger represented the visible edge of Earth's true capabilities, a calculated revelation designed to establish respect without showcasing everything they could do. It was a delicate balance, showing enough strength to deter aggression while extending a hand in cooperation, a uniquely human approach to a universe filled with unknown dangers and potential allies. As she watched a Vorax shuttle dock with a human research vessel, Reeves allowed herself a moment of optimism. Perhaps this was how humanity would make its mark on the galaxy, not through conquest or subjugation, but through strength tempered by restraint, power balanced with wisdom. The stars awaited, and Earth was ready. Commander Sarah Chen stood motionless on the bridge of the ESS Phantom, her eyes fixed on the holographic display, showing something that shouldn't exist. The stealth vessel's quantum sensors had detected what appeared to be massive energy signatures emanating from a dying star system. Energy signatures that suggested someone was harvesting the power of a collapsing star. "Analysis complete, Commander," Lieutenant Park whispered, maintaining the bridge's tense atmosphere. Even though they were running silent with their quantum stealth systems engaged, the crew had developed a habit of speaking in hushed tones. Whatever they're using, it's at least level 4 on the Kardashev scale. They're not just harvesting the star's energy. They're stabilizing its decay. Sarah's fingers traced the edge of her command console, feeling the subtle vibrations of the Phantom's dark space engines. Humanity had only achieved reliable fusion power 30 years ago, and here they were, watching an alien civilization manipulate stellar physics like children playing with building blocks. "Show me their population centers," she ordered, keeping her voice steady. The holographic display shifted, revealing dozens of massive structures orbiting the dying star. Each one housed millions, if not billions, of beings. The scale was almost incomprehensible. "They call themselves the Asteri," Science Officer Dr. Elena Rodriguez reported, scrolling through the data their passive sensors had collected. "From what we can decrypt of their public communications, they've been a spacefaring civilization for over 50,000 years. She paused, her dark eyes widening. "Commander, you need to see this." The main display shifted to show what appeared to be an educational broadcast. The Asteri were tall, crystalline beings that seemed to shimmer with internal light. The translation software worked quickly, converting their harmonic language into English. "And so we continue our sacred duty," the crystalline being announced, its form pulsing with colors. "The younger races must be monitored and contained. Their primitive violence and resource consumption cannot be allowed to threaten the greater harmony of the galaxy." The inspection fleets have identified 17 developing civilizations in need of oversight. Sarah felt her blood run cold. "Elena, when was this broadcast?" 6 hours ago, Commander. Earth is within their designated inspection zone." The bridge fell silent. Humanity had hidden its true technological progress for a reason. After detecting the first alien signals 50 years ago, Earth's governments had made a unanimous decision. They would advance in secret. While other young civilizations broadcast their achievements to the cosmos, humanity had developed quantum stealth, dark space engines, and zero-point energy behind a carefully maintained veil of radio signals that suggested they were barely reaching for the moon. "They're harvesting stars," Tactical Officer James O'Neill muttered, "but they're afraid of younger races. Something doesn't add up." Sarah studied the data flowing across her screens. The Asteri were powerful, yes, but their technology was predictable. They had followed a linear path of development over their 50,000 years, building bigger, more powerful versions of the same basic technologies. There was little evidence of the quantum leaps and paradigm shifts that had marked humanity's secret advancement. "Look at their weapons," she said quietly. "All energy-based, all operating on similar principles to their star-harvesting technology. Efficient, powerful, but they never developed dark energy weapons," James finished. "No quantum torpedoes, no consciousness transfer technology, no dark space drives. They went up, but they never went sideways." Sarah nodded. This was why humanity had chosen secrecy. In just a century of hidden development, they had explored paths of science that these ancient races had never conceived of. The Asteri's power came from scale and refinement, not innovation. "Commander," Communications Officer Yuki Tanaka called out, her voice tense. "I'm detecting a directive being broadcast through their network. The inspection fleet. They're moving up their schedule. They'll reach Sol system in less than a month." Sarah straightened in her command chair. They had expected to have at least a year to prepare Earth for inspection. A month wasn't nearly enough time to hide their more advanced installations, to bury the quantum shipyards and consciousness backup facilities deep enough to avoid detection. "Plot a course back to Earth," she ordered. "Maximum dark space speed. We need to warn the Defense Council." She paused, looking at the display of the Asteri's stellar engineering project one last time. "And send all our sensor data on their technology. If they're going to inspect us, we need to know exactly what they're capable of detecting." As the Phantom slipped into dark space, Sarah wondered if humanity's greatest challenge would not be appearing weak enough to pass inspection. The Asteri were ancient and powerful, yes, but they were also stagnant, bound by their own assumptions about how technology should develop. "Prepare a full report," she told her crew. "Focus on their blind spots, the technologies they've never thought to develop. If we have to hide our capabilities, we need to know exactly where they won't think to look." The stealth ship accelerated through dark space, leaving no trace of its presence. Behind them, the Asteri continued their work on the dying star, unaware that they had just been observed by a civilization they considered primitive. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Sometimes, the best place to hide wasn't in the shadows, but in plain sight, behind assumptions of weakness. They had a month to prepare Earth for inspection. A month to hide centuries of secret advancement behind a facade of primitive development. But as Sarah reviewed the sensor data, she couldn't help but wonder, what would happen if the Asteri discovered the truth? What would these ancient, powerful, but stagnant beings do if they realized that a primitive race had developed technologies they had never even imagined? She hoped they wouldn't have to find out. The Defense Council chamber, buried 2 kilometers beneath the Himalayas, erupted into chaos as Commander Chen finished her report. The holographic representatives of Earth's unified government spoke over each other, their voices echoing through the vast underground space. 1 month. Director Patel's hologram flickered with static. "It's impossible. The Ganymede quantum shipyards alone will take 3 months to fully conceal." Sarah stood at attention, her dress uniform feeling unusually stiff. After 3 years on the Phantom, any clothing that wasn't a stealth suit felt wrong. "The Asteri's sensor technology operates on principles we can counter," she explained. "They rely heavily on electromagnetic and gravimetric detection. They have no concept of quantum state analysis or consciousness field detection. But their power output is astronomical," General Zhang interrupted, his weathered face tight with concern. "They harvest dying stars. Commander, what happens if they decide to scan our system with that level of energy?" Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward, her scientific advisor's insignia glowing softly. "That's actually our advantage, sir. The Asteri are like a person with a spotlight in a dark room. They can illuminate anything they look at directly, but their own brightness blinds them to subtle details. They've never developed the kind of fine-scale detection methods we use because they've never needed to." The chamber grew quiet as Admiral Hassan's hologram raised a hand. The head of Earth's hidden fleet spoke with careful precision. "Show us their blind spots again, Commander. All of them." Sarah nodded to Elena, who activated their sensor data from the Phantom. The chamber filled with a detailed analysis of Asteri technology. "They have no understanding of dark energy manipulation," Sarah explained. "Their computers are purely quantum-based. They never developed consciousness transfer technology or biological computing. Most importantly, they don't scan for zero-point energy signatures because they don't believe stable zero-point energy extraction is possible. So we'd hide our advanced tech in plain sight," Admiral Hassan mused. "Disguise our quantum shipyards as primitive fusion facilities. Mask our consciousness backup centers as data storage warehouses. But the fleet we can't hide," Sarah admitted. "Not all of it. But we can make it look primitive. The Phantom's stealth systems prove that we can mask dark space signatures as simple fusion emissions. We can make our most advanced ships look like they're running on technology that's barely ahead of chemical rockets." Director Patel's hologram leaned forward. "Project Shadowfall," she said quietly. "We activate it now." The chamber erupted again, but this time with urgent purpose rather than panic. Project Shadowfall had been humanity's contingency plan for first contact, a comprehensive strategy to hide their true capabilities behind a carefully constructed facade of primitive development. "We'll need every stealth ship we have," Admiral Hassan declared. "Commander Chen, your Phantom will coordinate the fleet's transformation. Dr. Rodriguez, work with the Quantum Computing Division to develop masking algorithms. We need to make our advanced technology look crude enough to pass inspection." Sarah felt a subtle vibration through her boots. The quantum shipyards were already beginning their transformation. Somewhere above them, humanity's most advanced installations were being disguised as primitive facilities. The greatest technological masquerade in history had begun. "There's something else," Elena said, her voice cutting through the chamber's activity. "The Asteri's educational broadcasts. They don't just monitor primitive civilizations. They actively prevent their advancement if they develop too quickly or in unexpected directions." The implications hung heavy in the air. If the Asteri discovered humanity's true level of technology, they wouldn't just be surprised. They would see it as a threat to their established order. "How do they prevent advancement?" General Zhang asked. "They call it harmonious adjustment," Elena replied, her voice tight. "They use their stellar engineering technology to create controlled solar flares, targeting planetary infrastructure. They can effectively reset a civilization's technological progress without destroying the species itself." Sarah watched the council members' faces as they processed this information. Humanity had hidden their progress out of caution. Now it seemed that caution had been fully justified. "Then we have no choice," Admiral Hassan declared. "Project Shadowfall must succeed. Every advanced installation, every quantum ship, every piece of technology beyond their expectations must be hidden or disguised. We have 1 month to make humanity appear primitive enough to avoid their attention." "And if we fail?" Director Patel asked. Sarah thought of the dying star she had watched the Asteri manipulate. "If we fail, they'll try to reset our progress to what they consider a safe level. But they've never encountered a civilization that developed like we did. They don't know what we're truly capable of." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "And they don't know about the contingency measures we've hidden in the dark matter layer of every human colony." The council members nodded grimly. Humanity had prepared for this possibility, burying quantum-encrypted backup facilities in subspace, ready to restore their civilization even if the worst happened. The Asteri might be able to destroy their visible infrastructure, but humanity's greatest advances were hidden in ways the ancient civilization couldn't even conceive of. 1 month, Admiral Hassan said finally. 1 month to hide centuries of progress. Let's make it count. As the council session ended and the holograms faded, Sarah felt the weight of their task settling onto her shoulders. They had to convince a star-harvesting civilization that humanity was barely capable of reaching Mars. It would be the performance of their lives, and the stakes couldn't be higher. "Commander," Elena said softly as they left the chamber, "do you think we can really fool them?" Sarah thought of the Asteri's linear, predictable development, their blind spots to whole branches of physics that humanity had discovered. "Yes," she said, "because sometimes the best way to hide isn't to match their expectations, but to fall so far below them that they don't look too closely. Above them, humanity's greatest achievements were being hidden behind masks of primitive technology. The race against time had begun." The Asteri inspection fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, their crystalline ships refracting sunlight in dazzling patterns. From her position on the transformed bridge of the ESS Prometheus, Sarah watched the display with carefully controlled anxiety. The once advanced warship had been disguised as a primitive exploration vessel, its quantum core masked to appear as a basic fusion reactor. "They're scanning the outer system," Elena reported, now playing the role of a simple sensor operator. The advanced quantum displays had been replaced with crude holographic screens. "Their energy output is significant." Sarah nodded, maintaining the facade of an officer impressed by technology she'd never seen before. In truth, the Phantom had recorded far more detailed scans of Asteri technology, but that ship and its crew were now hidden in a dark space pocket near Venus, invisible to even the most powerful conventional scans. "First contact protocols," she ordered, her voice steady. "Let's show them humanity's best technology." The Prometheus's engines flared to life, deliberately inefficient fusion reactions creating a visible plasma trail. They had practiced this approach countless times, the art of appearing primitive but promising, like a species on the verge of true spacefaring capability. The lead Asteri vessel dwarfed the Prometheus, its crystalline structure pulsing with internal light. A communication beam touched their ship, and the translator systems activated. "Developing species vessel." The harmonic voice resonated through the bridge. "This is observer first light-through crystal of the Asteri inspection fleet. Your presence has been noted, and your technological level will be evaluated. Prepare for detailed scanning." Sarah straightened in her command chair. This was the moment of truth. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Prometheus. We are honored by your presence and welcome your evaluation." The scanner beams swept through the ship, analyzing everything. But just as Elena had predicted, they were looking for specific types of technology, the kind the Asteri themselves used. Their powerful but narrowly focused scans passed right through the quantum-encrypted data crystals disguised as simple computer cores, blind to the consciousness backup systems, hidden as medical equipment. "Commander," Lieutenant Park called out, genuine alarm in his voice. "Long-range sensors are detecting a massive solar flare building up in an unusual pattern." Sarah's heart raced. This wasn't part of the plan. The Asteri weren't supposed to begin any harmonious adjustments until after their inspection. Unless multiple ships emerging from the flare's corona, Elena reported. "Unknown configuration, but their energy signatures are similar to Asteri technology." The crystalline ship's colors shifted to deep crimson. "Vashari vessels detected," Observer First Light announced, their harmonic voice carrying new frequencies of concern. "Rogue elements of our species who believe developing races should be eliminated rather than guided. Commander Chen, remove your primitive vessel from the combat zone immediately." Sarah watched as dozens of ships emerged from the solar storm, their crystalline structures darker and more angular than the Asteri vessels. This was quickly becoming a nightmare scenario. An advanced civil war was about to break out in Earth's solar system. "We cannot abandon you," Sarah replied, playing the role of a naive but noble lesser species. "Our world is behind us. We will assist however we can." "Your assistance would be futile," First Light responded. "Your technology is far too primitive to." They were cut off as the first Vashari attack struck, dark energy beams slicing through space. The Asteri inspection fleet moved to intercept, their own energy weapons blazing. But Sarah could see the tactical situation clearly. The Vashari had caught them off guard, using the solar flare as cover. "Commander," Elena whispered, her hand hovering over the quantum controls hidden beneath their primitive interface. "If that battle reaches Earth's orbit." Sarah understood the implications. Even a stray shot from their weapons could devastate Earth's surface. They had hoped to maintain their deception throughout the inspection, but now... "New solar event detected," Park announced suddenly. Massive energy spike from the far side of the sun. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Admiral Hassan had anticipated something like this. Not this exact scenario, but the possibility that they would need a distraction. The quantum devices hidden in the solar observation platforms were activating, using dark energy to trigger a precisely controlled solar flare. The battle paused as both Asteri factions turned their attention to the new phenomenon. Sarah watched their sensor beams shift, probing the unexpected solar activity. It was just enough of a distraction. "All ships," she subvocalized, the quantum communicator hidden in her neural implant broadcasting to the hidden human fleet. "Execute Protocol Omega Shadow. Make it look good." Across the solar system, carefully hidden human ships began to move. They would reveal some of their technology, enough to help drive back the Vashari, but in ways that would appear to be lucky accidents and primitive weapons having unexpected effects against advanced shields. The real battle was just beginning, but it wasn't the one the Asteri could see. It was the battle to save Earth while maintaining humanity's greatest deception, all while making their inevitable victory look like fortunate chance rather than carefully planned strategy. As the Prometheus moved to join the battle, Sarah caught Elena's eye. They both knew that after today, nothing would be the same. The only question was whether humanity could save both their world and their secrets. The space around them lit up with crystalline weapons fire, and Sarah gave the order that would change everything. "All hands, battle stations. Let's show them what primitive humans can do." The solar system erupted into chaos as the Vashari attack intensified. Sarah watched from the Prometheus's bridge as the Asteri inspection fleet's formation buckled under the assault. The attackers had positioned themselves perfectly, using the solar flare's radiation to mask their approach vectors. "Vashari vessels are launching some kind of crystalline projectiles," Elena reported, her fingers dancing across the deliberately simplified control interface. They're targeting Earth directly." Sarah made a split-second decision. "Launch our experimental interceptor drones," she ordered. "Let's see how our primitive attempts at automated defense perform." The drones launched from Prometheus's hold, supposedly simple fusion-powered defense units. In reality, each contained a quantum core capable of calculating space-time trajectories that would appear to be lucky coincidences to Asteri sensors. "Remarkable." Observer Firstlight's voice carried genuine surprise as the human drones intersected with the Vashari weapons. "Your primitive guidance systems should not be capable of such precision." "Sometimes desperation breeds innovation," Sarah replied carefully, watching as her crew continued their elaborate performance of being a less advanced species rising to an impossible challenge. The battle shifted as the Vashari adjusted their tactics, their ships moving into a complex three-dimensional pattern that the Asteri struggled to counter. Sarah recognized the formation. It would allow them to create a resonance field capable of triggering a chain reaction in Earth's magnetosphere. "Commander," Park called out, real fear in his voice. "Their energy readings, if they complete that formation." "I see it," Sarah said quietly. They were running out of options. Maintaining their technological masquerade might cost them their planet. She opened a secure quantum channel to Admiral Hassan's hidden command center. "Sir, requesting permission to execute Protocol Omega Prime." There was a moment of tense silence before the Admiral's response came through her neural implant. "Granted, Commander. Show them just enough to survive. Make it look like innovation born of necessity." Sarah straightened in her command chair. "All hands," she announced. "Prepare for emergency protocol activation." Engineering, initiate fusion core overload sequence. Helena shot her a knowing look. The fake fusion core overload would mask the activation of their real quantum weapon systems. It was a gamble, but one they had prepared for. Commander Chen. First Light's harmonic voice carried urgency. Your ship's power readings are becoming dangerously unstable. You must withdraw. No, Sarah replied, letting determination fill her voice. Our world is at stake. If this is our last stand, we'll make it count. The Prometheus's hull began to glow as the fake fusion containment field failed, a carefully orchestrated light show hiding the activation of their quantum shield matrix. The Vashari paused their attack momentarily, their sensors detecting the building energy signature. Now, Sarah ordered. The Prometheus's apparent fusion containment breach erupted into a brilliant display of energy, mostly harmless light and radiation, but hiding within it were precisely targeted quantum torpedoes. The weapons struck the Vashari formation at exactly the right points to disrupt their resonance field. Impossible, one of the Vashari commanders broadcast, their harmonic voice filled with confusion. Their primitive fusion technology cannot. They were cut off as more human ships emerged from their hiding places, each appearing to suffer similar containment failures that somehow perfectly countered the Vashari attacks. To the advanced alien sensors, it would appear that humanity's desperate last stand was having unexpectedly effective results through sheer chance and the strange interaction of primitive technology with advanced shields. But Observer First Light was no fool. Sarah could see the crystalline commander's colors shifting through patterns of deep thought as they watched the battle unfold. The coincidences were too perfect, the failures too precise in their effects. Commander Chen, First Light transmitted on a private channel. Your species is far more interesting than initial scans suggested. Sarah chose her words carefully. When faced with extinction, even primitive species can surprise themselves. The battle reached its climax as the combined effect of humanity's failing ships and the Asteri's legitimate weapons drove the Vashari back. The dark crystalline ships retreated into hyperspace, leaving behind a solar system filled with questions. As the immediate danger passed, Sarah could feel the weight of First Light's scrutiny. The Asteri observer had seen enough to know something wasn't quite what it seemed, but not enough to prove anything concrete. Your species requires further study, First Light announced finally. Such innovative use of primitive technology is unprecedented in our records. Sarah nodded, maintaining her facade of a commander who had just survived against impossible odds through luck and determination. We look forward to learning from your wisdom, she replied diplomatically. But as the Asteri inspection fleet regrouped, Sarah knew that humanity's careful deception had developed cracks. They had revealed more than intended, even if they had disguised it as primitive innovation. The question now was whether they could maintain their masquerade long enough to prepare for what would come next. Because one thing was certain, the Asteri would be watching Earth much more closely now. And somewhere out in the darkness of space, the Vashari were undoubtedly analyzing every moment of the battle, trying to understand how a supposedly primitive species had managed to thwart their attack. The real challenge was just beginning. The Defense Council chamber was eerily quiet as Sarah finished her report on the battle and its aftermath. The holograms of Earth's leaders flickered in the underground facility, their faces reflecting the weight of recent events. Observer First Light has requested a detailed analysis of our primitive fusion containment systems, Sarah concluded. They're particularly interested in how our failures produced such precise effects against Vashari shields. Admiral Hassan's hologram leaned forward. And what do your instincts tell you, Commander? How much does First Light truly suspect? Sarah exchanged a glance with Elena before responding. They know we're hiding something. The question is whether they understand the full scope of what we're concealing. The chamber's quantum displays showed the Asteri inspection fleet, still in orbit around Earth. Their crystalline ships had remained for the past week, conducting increasingly detailed scans of human installations. Each scan was more focused than the last, like someone searching for a secret door they knew must exist, but couldn't quite locate. Director Patel's hologram spoke up. Perhaps it's time we considered a controlled revelation. Show them enough to satisfy their curiosity, while keeping our most advanced technologies hidden. That could be dangerous, General Zhang countered. The educational broadcasts were clear. They adjust civilizations that develop too quickly or in unexpected directions. But they've never encountered a species like us, Alina interjected, stepping forward. I've been analyzing their complete historical database since they shared it. In 50,000 years, they've never found a civilization that developed along our path, hiding their progress, exploring alternative theories of physics, advancing in ways the Asteri never considered possible. Sarah nodded. The Asteri built upward, always reaching for more power, more energy, bigger structures. We built inward, exploring quantum mechanics, consciousness transfer, dark energy manipulation. We're not just at different levels of advancement, we're advancing in completely different directions. A new hologram appeared in the chamber. Observer First Light had requested an audience. After a moment of silent communication between council members, Admiral Hassan nodded. The crystalline being's form shimmered into existence, colors flowing through their structure in complex patterns. Honored representatives of Earth. First Light began, their harmonic voice filling the chamber. We have completed our initial evaluation of your species. Sarah held her breath, noticing similar tension in the council members' postures. Your development is unusual, First Light continued. Your apparent technological level conflicts with observed capabilities. This contradiction required deep analysis. The being's colors shifted to a new pattern. We have reached a conclusion that challenges 50,000 years of Asteri understanding. And what conclusion is that, observer? Admiral Hassan asked carefully. That perhaps our method of measuring advancement is fundamentally flawed. First Light's form pulsed with new colors. We measure progress by power output, by the ability to harness stellar energies. Yet your species, they paused, colors swirling. Your species has found paths we never considered, ways of manipulating reality that do not require vast energies. Sarah felt the shift in the chamber's atmosphere. This wasn't an accusation. It was a revelation.